Enemy placement is an often overlooked facet of Elden Ring lore, yielding valuable context to analyze. In this series, we examine 5 enemy types and posit plausible theories about their locations. This time, we'll look at Omens, Leyndell Knights, Chanting Winged Dames, the Lamenter, and Troll Knights. Let's begin. Under the Golden Order, tangled horns were seen as an impurity. Thus, the Omen were shunned from birth and cast away from civilization. We find one of them in the main courtyard of Stormvale Castle, accompanied by a large dog. Evidently aware of his relative weakness compared to the other demigods, Godric the Grafted sought to secure his position by any means necessary. So, it makes sense to find a reviled Omen here, among his army of exiles and mercenaries. Omen are rarely seen in the presence of living humans, though Stormvale's garrison of sellswords likely pay him no mind. After all, they're just here to get paid, not to enforce the laws of the capital. Several Omen dwell in isolated crypts, such as the cliff-bottom catacombs in Liurnia. This place is located near Liurnia's southern highway, the road that once connected Stormvale to Raya Lucaria. Perhaps Godric was trying to expand his domain northward at some point, and was stopped by either the Cuckoo Knights of the Academy or Malenia's host. At that point, the Omen may have been left behind, along with the Kaidan mercenary whose ashes are found there. Thus, they fled to the closest catacombs, a dark and hidden place where they might have been feeding off intruders. The unsightly catacombs are a refuge for outcasts, where they've been treated by a compassionate perfumer. Here, we find many misbegotten, evidently allied with an Omen. Perhaps this one was sick or injured, and came here in search of treatment. Or maybe it simply found a worthy cause to fight for. Above the ruin-strewn precipice, a number of coffin wagons lie in a wreckage. We don't know what exactly happened here, though based on the presence of Omen, they might be responsible for an ambush on this convoy. Coffin carriages presumably carry the remains of wealthy nobles, so maybe this was an act of retaliation on the Omen's part, enacting revenge for the way they've been treated. Interestingly, some of the Omen who live on the surface can be heard crying. Having witnessed the golden landscape of the Altus Plateau, maybe they too grieve for this world, as Miquella puts it. At some point in time, perhaps during the Shattering Wars, due to the scale of the conflict, Omens were used as soldiers despite not being trusted, as we can infer from the Omen Cleaver's description. Perhaps this explains their presence out in the open, not far from the capital and armed patrols. Alternatively, maybe this group simply managed to escape the subterranean shunning grounds and raided this camp on their way westward. Heroes' graves are underground crypts, where fallen champions of the Golden Order are posthumously honored. In the Orissa's grave near Leyndell, we find a cloaked omen facing a statue. The corpse before him drops the crucible feather talisman, an ancient relic which is highly relevant to the omen. This one might have been seeking to understand the origins of his curse and the forgotten history of the lands between. Thus, he ventured into this sacred place, where he found a crucial piece of evidence. The minor Erd tree of the capital outskirts appears unhealthy, likely due to its position above Godwyn's cadaver. Here, we find a group of commoners and an omen, sitting in a circle. The commoners wear shrouds that cover their faces, suggesting they might be grieving, and the omen is able to cast Fear's Mist, a deathblight sorcery. So, these are likely allies of those who live in death, who learned the truth of Godwyn's fate, perhaps from Fear herself. The Divine Tower of East Altus is connected to Leyndell's eastern road via a bridge. When crossing it, we're ambushed by a duo of omen called Fell Twins, who shroud the area in darkness. One twin has its horns excised and wields a warped axe coated in blood flame. The other is strongly accursed and wields an omen cleaver. These are obviously meant to represent the omen demigods, Morgoth and Mohg. Perhaps they're projections of their past selves, or maybe they're separate omen, chosen by Morgoth to guard the tower. The largest population of omen reside in the subterranean shunning grounds, the large network of sewers and crypts below the capital. This is where they were abandoned, including those born of nobility. They mostly dwell on the upper levels of the shunning grounds, probably because they're too large to fit through the tubes and stairways that lead lower. Interestingly, these two are seen kneeling before the statue of a hooded woman. It's hard to say who this figure is. If you have an idea, be sure to let us know in the comments. Leyndell Knights wear golden armors, emblazoned with a symbol of Erd tree worship. Unsurprisingly, many of them guard the royal capital and its surroundings, particularly along main roads and avenues. In addition to a couple of tree sentinels, they protect the stairway to the outer wall's southern gate, alluding that the city was sealed off during the Shattering Wars. Others patrol near the Stormcaller Church and the sword monument dedicated to Godwyn's victory over the ancient dragons. This narrative connection extends to the Wyndham Catacombs, where a few knights are guarding secrets of the ancient dragon cult. The Old Altus Tunnel is an active mining site, where commoners tirelessly gather crystals. Leyndell Knights were likely assigned here to oversee their work and ensure a steady supply of ores for the capital's blacksmiths. During the Shattering Wars, the capital's army attempted to quell Rykard's rebellion. Thus, they marched on Mount Gelmir, triggering the bloodiest battle of the conflict. Several knights remain in the region, all the way up to the top of the mountain. These ones became afflicted with the frenzied flame, probably driven mad by the extent of the surrounding carnage. Curiously, a solitary knight of the capital roams near the Carian study hall in Liurnia. He drops a dragon cult prayer book containing spells that reference Godwyn and the cult's foundation, lending credence to the idea that he once served under, or at the very least, greatly respected Godwyn. Ranni's half of the Hallowbrand curse mark is located on her original body atop the nearby tower. So, perhaps he embarked on a quest to investigate Godwyn's death, seeking to learn the truth about the Knight of the Black Knives and the true motives behind his liege's murder. Chanting winged dames are bat-like creatures, often accompanied by giant bats. They're recognizable by their human traits, as well as their Latin chant, which I previously covered in other videos. They're commonly found near ruins of the Rao civilization, such as the ruin-strewn precipice. Another nests on the southern coast of the Weeping Peninsula, near a minor Erd tree. These locations lie in the shade of the Erd tree's light, which makes sense, considering these creatures' resentment for a certain Golden One. As expected from bat species that thrive in dark environments, some of them also dwell in caves and thickets, away from population centers. To the northeast of Caelid lies Fort Faroth, where we find several of them. This fits with the presence of Rao pillars along the nearby cliffside. In the ancient era when such structures spanned across the continent, perhaps they were valued members of society, revered as saintly matriarchs. This drastically changed when the age of the Erd tree began, and creatures of the Crucible were rejected by the Golden Order. Thus, they remained in the wilderness and became more animalistic in nature. Trolls are descendants of the fire giants, commonly found in most regions of the lands between. Over time, some of them swore an oath to the Carians, and even fought under Queen Renala during her youth. They were granted swords and armor, and were considered full-fledged knights who served alongside human troops. One of them guards the upper level of Carrier Manor, blocking the stairs to the royal moon-gazing pool where the Carian demigods and their vassals once gathered. To the southeast, soldiers of the Academy are fighting Carian projections, including a troll knight. This confrontation is part of the local civil war, which remains an active conflict in the region. In this specific instance, projections were likely summoned to cut off the Academy rebels from reinforcements, allowing the Carians to maintain the status quo despite their numerical disadvantage. West of here, Carian Knight Bowles is imprisoned in the Cuckoo's Everjail. Perhaps he was defeated and captured by Academy forces, or maybe he betrayed the Carians and was imprisoned by Iji. At the northeastern edge of Liurnia lies the converted Fringe Tower, guarded by a solitary troll knight. This sorcerer's rise is home to a graven mass, the fused remains of scholars who delved into primeval sorcery. This ancient school of magic was outlawed by Renala. So, maybe she sent a troll knight to reprimand the owner of this tower. When Relana joined Mesmer's crusade in the Land of Shadow, she took a sizable contingent of Carrion troops with her. This includes a troll knight, found guarding the southern bridge to Castle Ensis. This position is heavily fortified, which makes sense considering it faces the Horn-Scent capital. The troll was likely posted here as a deterrent, considering the Horn-Scent supposedly feared giants. Charo's hidden grave is a narrow strip of land, located on the southern coast of the Shadow Realm. To the west of the region, we find a cave entrance, littered with cages and spiked barricades. This is one of the Horn-Scent jails, where shamans were melded together and thrown into jars. At the bottom of the cave, there's a unique creature called Lamenter. It is described as a denizen of paradise, denied by the Horn-Scent, who hid it from the world. A strange fate, considering it has horns, a sign of spirituality in Horn-Scent culture. Looking closely at it, it appears to have red hair, hinting at a connection with the fire giants. We know the fire giant's fell god haunted the sagas of the Horn-Scent. So, perhaps this explains why the Lamenter was locked away here, in the most distant jail from their settlements. If you enjoy my content, remember to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.